Yes, people, we are back again. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to this show. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and thank you all so much for the support and for watching. Of course, we're going to be talking about Arsenal. We're going to be talking about transfers. We're going to talk a little bit about Ten Hag staying at Man United, which I'm not even going to lie to you, I actually did see happening. I didn't see anybody out there that they actually looked at and thought potentially they could get. So Ten Hag is now the guy. So let's talk a little bit about that. We're also going to mention why Arsenal may have to switch their targets now that Sesko is not available and now that Douglas Luiz is not available. Do we switch our targets to Osimhen? Joshua Zirkzee we're going to mention. He has been linked with Manchester United and with Arsenal. We're also going to talk a little bit about Ryan McAidoo. Who is Ryan McAidoo? Well, I found out today for the first time, and it looks like you guys might have to as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about him. And we're going to talk about Chido Obi Martin and why Bayern Munich are looking at him and what we know about him. So they're the things we're going to talk about today. So stay tuned, hit the like button, make sure you hit subscribe. And also make sure you check out our sponsors. Our sponsors are Football Prizes, and they've got a fantastic one. If you are a Formula 1 fan, please stay tuned. Make sure you go over to www.footballprizes.co.uk and check this opportunity out. There's an unbelievable ticket price of $2.95 for you to get involved in a chance to win a race day at Silverstone. Not one ticket, yes, 2 tickets to the race day of the Silverstone Grand Prix. You've also got opportunities to win the merchandise there, and you've got opportunities to win a signed autobiography by Nigel Mansell. So make sure that you're in it to win it. I know you've got a lot of Formula 1 fans that watch and support this channel, as well as Gooners, so please make sure that you go over there. You'll see all the football prizes, Arsenal prizes, as well as other Premier League clubs. So let's get to it. Let's talk a little bit about Arsenal striker situation, shall we? I've been speaking for the last few days about where I would go with this, and if I'm honest with you, I put out a poll on Twitter and everybody is so confused. The reason everyone's confused is people are just so neutral about this. And what I mean by neutral is that I put out a poll on Twitter to say, where would you like to see Arsenal's target go next? Isak wasn't an option. That would be my number one. It's not going to happen. So I put Victor Gyökeres, Victor Osimhen, Tony Watkins or Solanke in the same poll, and other for an other opportunity. And Osimhen currently is winning it. Gyökeres is currently second. Tony Watkins and Solanke, one of those options, being coming in third. And then some other people have mentioned that there's other names out there like Joshua Zirkzee that somebody is mentioning. Boniface is another one that's been mentioned. So that to me says there's no clear, obvious number 9. Now, personally, if it was me, out of those options, I'd like to see us go and get one of the Victors, whether it's Victor Osimhen or Victor Gyökeres. I can't quite stop thinking about how Victor Gyökeres would be playing for Arsenal and how he would currently fit in, but I think it would be a great opportunity to see that. I do believe that. I think he'd be able to bring a lot to Arsenal. But we need to switch our targets, because our targets were supposed to be Sesko, and he's not going anywhere now. He's staying. Everybody from a fan's perspective wants Isak. He's not going anywhere. So where do we go next? Where do Arsenal look? Do they look towards one of the Victors? Do they go for a Premier League proven in Tony Watkins or Solanke? Or do they go over towards maybe more of a risky signing like a Boniface or somebody like that? There's a lot of options, and one of which is Joshua Zirkzee. Now, Joshua Zirkzee I don't know enough about. Played over at Bologna. He's a striker that, let's be honest, Thiago Motta would have got the best out of, because he did very, very well over at Bologna. He's now got the job at Juventus. I think he scored something like 13 goals in 33 games. So he's one of those that's kind of a 1 in 3 striker. Very, very young. I believe he's very tall. I can't help but think that Arsenal want that tall striker. They want that Sesko type, that Havertz type. Gyökeres is another guy there. Zirkzee very tall as well. I think Arsenal want that tall centre forward, as opposed to one of a Jermaine Defoe type or an Ian Wright type. I think they want that kind of presence up top. Now, some people might find that a bit strange because Kai Havertz is already that, but I kind of get why. I think that there's potential for us to do a lot more with aerial ability. I think there's the potential for us to look at how the link-up play could benefit the likes of Saka and Martinelli and Leandro Trossard. So I can see why we're going for that. And if you were looking at that option, Victor Gyökeres for me would be that guy. Now, Victor Osimhen, I don't think he's small, but I don't think he's 6'5". I don't actually know how tall he is. I think is he just under or just over 6 foot? He's not an absolute man mountain from what I can see, but He's an absolute beast on the ball. So I would not be annoyed if we went in for him. I really wouldn't. It's not a striker I look at and go, oh, I wish we weren't going for him. It's not the type of player that I want. I do think it would be a risk, as I've said before previously, but I think all of them will now. Because whether you go and get Tony Watkins or Solanke, they're going to be a risk. Not because they're not Premier League proven, because they've got to do it in a shirt that's now Arsenal. And that's a heavy shirt. Yeah? Victor Gyökeres come from a different league, as is Victor Osimhen. Xerxes, very unproven centre forward, young, hot prospect, but not one that's ready now. And I think that Arsenal fans want a ready now striker. I don't think there's many of them about. Victor Osimhen is probably the best for ready-made now, if I'm honest with you. Osimhen or Gyökeres, I think, are the two. So the striker's a really interesting one for me. Midfield, no links today. Douglas Luiz choosing Juventus. It doesn't look like there's any links for the ones that fans are wanting. I saw Tom Canton's show today where a lot of Arsenal influencers, including myself, sent him their dream window, and midfielders was the episode today. So make sure you go check that out on the Gooner Talk TV. A lot of people talking about De Jong, his ball carrying abilities. A lot of people talking about Bruno Guimaraes, the fact he can play in the 6 and the 8. A lot of people talking about Zubamendi and Yusuf Fofana. So there's opportunities there for us to be looking at players. Some people mentioned Onana at Everton. But really, there's no clear cut. There's no Declan Rice midfielder. There's no Harry Kane centre forward. Those days, unfortunately, are now done. And I don't think Arsenal can actually go into that market knowing full well that they're guaranteed to get that 30 goal a season striker and that beast in midfield. So we're going to have to look a little bit harder at what it is that we're trying to look at bringing to the club this summer. Now, when I look at the scenario of midfield, I think we have to look at where we want Declan Rice to play first. Do we see him as the 8? Do we see him as the 6? It's going to be, I think, all on Thomas Partey. Does he sell Thomas Partey? If he does, we'll only have Rice and Jorginho in that 6 role. Then we'll have to go and get that 8. If we keep Partey and we get that number 8, I think Rice will probably be the 6 and then we get an 8. But we've got Partey there that can allow Rice to go into the 8. So we could start with Partey and Rice and then mould the new midfielder in. If Partey goes and we get the number 8, I think Rice will be the 6, Jorginho back up, and then we get that number 8 who will be able to take us forward. Now, if Partey goes, I would argue we need both. I think we might need a 6 and an 8, because if we got one injury away, like let's say Jorginho, you've literally got Rice and the other guy that we buy. That's it. So we'll be incredibly short if we lose Partey because Elneny's already gone. Now, sometimes it's not about the quality, sometimes it's about the quantity. You actually need a squad. And I don't want 15 quality players. I want 20 quality players. So if somebody's not good enough, it's fair enough getting rid of them, but you've got to replace them and upgrade them. You can't have inadequate cover or no cover. You've got to have adequate cover. So that's where I'm at with that. Now let's talk a little bit about the news of Ryan McAidoo. I know absolutely nothing about Ryan McAidoo. He's a 15-year-old footballer playing for Chelsea, and Arsenal are in the front running for the signature of Ryan McAidoo. Now, he's a forward player at Chelsea at 15 years old, very highly rated, very highly talented, and Fabrizio Romano says that Arsenal are looking at this player. Now, I remember myself and Igal having a bit of a, not argument, debate to do about why it's important to bring youth academies through and why it's also not something that Arsenal fans want. And kind of, I got to the end of it, we were both right. Like Igal, I understand, was saying that we need to keep buying young players because we need to look at the future. But I'm kind of sick and tired of young players coming into the club. I want to see some actual winners now, some ready-made players, some ready-made talents. So signings like Ryan McAidoo at 15 years old doesn't fill me with excitement at all. And it doesn't take me to that level where I think, yeah, Arsenal are ready now. But if they believe that this player's a player they can get something out of in the next few years, like the Ethan Neris, Kozia Dubris, who apparently could be leaving, the likes of Lewis Skelly, the likes of some of the other youngsters that we've seen in and out of the team, to be fair, over the years, then fair play. Absolutely no problem with signing that alongside players that are already made now. But these sort of signings cannot get me excited. I'm really sorry, guys. I don't sit there and believe that this is a signing that we're going to be able to go, yes, this takes us to the next level. So take a look at him, see what you think. Have a word with your Chelsea friends and see if they know much about him. I personally don't. But Fabrizio Romano is saying that this is a player that we personally have a chance of signing. So take a look at him. Lastly, I'm going to talk about it. Chido Obi Martin. This guy is phenomenal. At 32 goals, he's breaking the record. He's 16 years old. He looks like he's going to be an absolute talent. He's from Denmark. He's going to be signing his first professional contract with Arsenal, but he's rejected the deal. Now, I know for a fact that we do not give youth academy players anywhere near what he's asking. The rumour is he's asking for 30k a week. Now, that wasn't even what Saka got given when he was becoming to the first team at Arsenal, or Smith Rowe, all these guys. And when they were in his shoes, they were getting about 10 to 15 tops, which is, I think, what we're offering. Now, I don't know what he's on at the moment, but there's no way he's going to get anywhere near 30k. However, Bayern Munich are sniffing around him. And this player is phenomenal talent. He scored 7 goals against was it West Ham or was it Norwich? 7 goals against one of them, 5 goals against the other. He's scoring hat-tricks for fun. 32 goals the guy's got. He is looking in for his level to be the top. And I think he's probably the next one alongside Ethan Nwaneri that will be coming through. So let's see what happens here. It would be very disappointing if Chido Obi Martin decided to leave Arsenal because there's a talent there. But what I will say, guys, is that we've seen players like this before that were supposed to be the next best thing. Charlie Patino was supposed to be better than Cesc Fabregas. We've got a lad in midfield called Dan Crowley 10 years ago that was supposed to be the next Jack Wilshere. He's now playing, I think, for like Shrewsbury or somebody like that. Everybody remember J. Emmanuel Thomas? Everybody remember Fran Merida? They were supposed to be the next Patrick Vieira and the next Cesc Fabregas. We always get likened players to the legends of the club. We should never do it. Because really, when you look at it, there's only really one youth academy player that comes through each year. In my time, growing up, in the late 80s, it was Rocky Rocastle. Then we went through to the 90s, and in the 80s and 90s, you had Tony Adams and Rocky that were kind of through at that era. Then in the 2000s, it was Ashley Cole. Then it came through at Jack Wilshere. And then now we've got your Bukayo Saka. Who's going to be the next era? There is going to be another era, 100%. But I don't think we can really put the amount of pressure on these guys' shoulders. What I will say though, 30k a week, there's no way he's going to be signing for that. That's an extreme amount of money. So I'm interested to know thoughts on this one. If Chido Obi Martin decides that he wants to go and take another challenge towards Germany or another game, another league, then fair play to him. But I'd like to see that we could, or believe that we could try to negotiate some form of contract for him. So watch this space, take a look for yourself, and see what your thoughts are on both Ryan McAidoo and, of course, Chido Obi Martin. We're going to leave it there, guys. Make sure you hit the like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you check out Football Prizes, and we'll see you next time. Big up. Take it easy.